Ribbit? Who gets hotter than hot pot?
Yeah, don't adjust your eyes, fellas. Pharaohs. It's Hugon cough cough. Yes, I'm in a frog suit. No, you can't. Get that.
Okay, let's go.
Green fleece on my back. Velcro under the chin. Slow. Tail wagging to the I just hop over a puddle, leave them looking mighty sick.
Sick.
A basic brown mutt. I'm a neon amphibian. And step in the dog club. Ain't the meridian.
What?
Allowed, but your bottle. Hop, 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 make way for Hugon. Green suit on, yeah, I'm wildin', I'm proving. Your boy's looking tragic, my swagger is magic. I'm taking your bitches, honestly classic. Yeah, I said it. Yeah, walk past the water bowl, give a little wink. Got a poodle and a bug, both offering a drink. Your boyfriends are sniffing each other's jump out of tree trunk. These bitches want a prince, well I'm the green prince of funk. Got a Frenchie on my left, got a husky on my right. I'm looking so fly, I'm looking excited. I'm a cold in a water body, roll up park, turning it into a party. Y'all are chasing tennis balls, I'm chasing finer things like a reservation for two, fit for a frog king. Pop, 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 make way for who? Yeah, green suit on, yeah, I'm wildin', I'm proving. Your boys looking tragic, my swagger is chick. I'm taking your bitches, it's on plastic. That's the fatter tell me off. Leave the horns on the leash, got it from yards. I wanna mention Marcus, cause he's on this track. I'm flying, I'm floating like Shaq. I know for a fact I'm not on Epstein's list. I got my own fill with the bitches I kiss. I ain't got ticks, my DJs be hatching. I ain't got fleas, that's DJ that's scratching. I got some I right past you, dog. You just a silly mutt. Bitches be thirsty, I'm they man's nightmare. The Dow was at 50, so I don't care.
I don't remember signing on to this. I was once inside Hugon until Dad gave him his heart on
Make way for Hugon. Green suit on, yeah, I'm wildin', I'm proving. Your boys looking tragic, my swagger is magic. I'm taking your bitches, it's honestly classic.
Right now is
Yes,
over.
honey, divide us into living
Dow is
life.
for
Leave your boy
$50,000.
on the leash, let him live and learn. Yeah. Shout out to Dad in the Pharaoh chat. Ernie, Birdie, Mitty, Claudia, Tip, Darlene. Wish I could fit everyone into this song.
Oh, what a perfect time to stop. Shout out to Darlene. You like the remix? I threw it in on top because guess what? That's right. We have the banners back. We have the ability for media assets to come into the play. You know what media assets are. It's when we do cool stuff like this. And my point is that other YouTuber creators, they don't have hard motherfuckers like you in their chats, but I do. So I'm grateful. And because I'm feeling that gratefulness, I feel like we have to spread the gratefulness And we have to say thank you to everyone. But in particular, thank you to Darlene for saving lives. We love you to death. And tonight, the benediction is in your honor for our boogity boogity prayer, because you're having a rough time. Your lupus is flaring up. Happens to the best of us. But you're the best of us. And that's why you're flared. And for that reason, tonight's prayer is for you. Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is not going to be the longest live in the world, but we're going to talk about a 50-year-old cold case. It's very interesting. I think it's going to freak you out. Here we go.
Tom's, Steven, Satan, damn it, Kevin, you wrong. Ladies, you don't gotta get all bent. Cougar's more fresh than 50 Cent. You might not think he's cool, you might not think he's nifty, but Coogan don't count. So John Jones at 50, we out.
He said it. We out.
Heavenly Father, we thank you tonight for all your blessings. You said in all things for these mighty machines you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. And most of all, we thank you for...
Pierogi Cacciatore. Enough with the edging. Okay, we're in the middle of prayer. You cannot edge during prayer, but afterwards, feel free to edge away. Lord, we also thank you for not just GM Performance Technology, but we thank you for putting your healing hands on Darlene and Nurse Corky, who has MS and is also flaring up. Anyone who's flaring up tonight, this one's for you.
And Yates partnering to give us the power that we see before us tonight. Thank you for GM Performance Technology and the R07 engines. Thank you for Sunoco Racing Fuel and Goodyear tires that bring performance and power to the track. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. My two children, Eli and Emma, or as we like to call them, the Little E's. Lord, I pray bless the drivers and use them tonight. May they put on a performance worthy of this great track. In Jesus' name, boogity, 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 amen.
We can start the landfills, but they can't keep growing because they're overflowing. We can start the landfills, but they'll make us pay unless we find a way.
The problem is the non-biodegradables.
The problem is all the paper.
Hey, don't worry about it.
The problem is the landfill.
Now, I need someone to tell me which one of you this is. And also, is this Rand Paul? Go back. Is this Rand Paul in this recycle that... Is it? Why does this guy look familiar? Is this that YouTube attorney that talks about being hip and staying cool? And he does hip-hop lyrics? How do we know this fellow? It's very strange. Very strange. He looks very familiar. Paper bags. Paper bags, exactly. Paper bags will trap the turtles, so recycle them.
Biodegradables.
The problem is all the paper.
Hey, don't worry about it.
The problem is the landfills are just too small.
The problem is the Martians, dude.
Thank God for the garbage man.
I don't think we really have a problem.
I tell you, we got
Also, what do you think about isolating that? I really like that. I feel like that would be a good drop for us. I feel like we could use this one a lot.
Thank God for the garbage man.
Thank God for the garbage man is a fun one. I could see us using that quite a bit.
God for the garbage man.
I don't think we really have a problem.
I tell you, we got a big problem. People don't know what to do. Hear them talking till they're blue. All that trash won't go away. Let's get real, it's here to stay. There's no problem, what's so bad? You don't care, it makes me mad.
Take my trash to go away.
But garbage problem's here to stay. We didn't start the landfills. They're from the good old days with all the throwaways. We didn't start the landfills, but they can't keep growing because they're overflowing. We didn't start the landfills, but they'll make us pay unless we find a way. We didn't start the landfills, but when we are gone, will the trash go on and on and on
And this is just an orangutan driving a golf cart. I put this in here because I felt it. This is what I feel like when I'm driving around Austin in my 2007 Honda Fit. This is actually footage of me. Who am I kidding? This is footage of me driving around Austin in my 2007 Honda Fit. Just literally trying to find a place to park. So anyway, this goes on for 4 minutes. So we're not going to do that. Okay. But hey, you know what? And you are that grounded. How about that? How about that now, Steven? Now you're grounded. Okay. No mod life for you, buddy. All right. No charcutes for you. Okay. And we have, by the way, we have all of our functionality back for at least another week because StreamYard offered me $1 deal where for a week I get premium treatment. And then after that, they're going to F me in the A again. And because of that, and in honor of that, I apologize in advance.
你好 Jack 我改变主意了我到这里来找
把手给我闭上眼睛快闭上上来抓住栏杆闭上眼睛别偷看
我没偷看
跨到栏杆上抓住了抓紧点眼睛闭好了吗相信我吗
我相信你
好了睁开眼睛
我飞了这个
来伸出手我拉你回来
Okay. We have to talk about this Hugon that Laura just texted me. This sweet baby angel. Do you see her? Do you see this sweet little baby angel? She was taken to a shelter today. And oh my God, she literally looks like Hugon. It's a she. This is what's up. This is the cutest little sweet baby. My heart has exploded. It's a mini ladybug. Look at Dylan. Can we? Laura, name of the shelter, please. We're putting this on the community wall. We're sharing this on Twitter. I'm going to make a special video. Someone stop my heart from exploding. Look at this little angel. She looks like you, Hugon. Hugon's in love. No offense, Ladybug, but oh my God. Get Hugon a girlfriend? I know, but Hugon's gay. Hugon, do you want the little hag? Oh, Laura will pay to transport her. Dylan, do you want to see her bark? Will that help to hear her scream? Oh my God. She's so vocal. We need to get her adopted. Here's what we're going to do, Laura. I'm going to blast the shit out of that online through my comedy accounts and through this for what it's worth. And I will put it on the community wall. Derek, can we make her fly through the air like a Superman? What can we do? We can get Chip it. Dude, we need her. Laura, Ladybug needs a sister. That's what it sounds like to me. She's a precious little baby Hugon. We will find her. She jumped in my arms and kept licking me. Well, it sounds like she found her home. How many Hugon? What if Laura ends up with like 6 Boston Terriers by the end of this? Guys, this already feels like it's starting to be a Micah Stauffer Huxley situation. So we're not going to do that because I do not want to end up making the apology video. It's not going to happen. Let's show the comments on the page. We have all the functionality back temporarily. We can't do anything. Where's Derek? He's right above you, Kevin. You're wrong. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to get into the story pretty quickly about what I want to talk to you about today because it is a really, really crazy case. But we have one news piece I would like to watch before it. Bless you. And the reason we're watching this is because I warned you guys about the Kia boys. I told you about the Kia boys. Told you about how teens are taking over. They'll get you. And it turns out there have been viral teen takeovers that have sparked nationwide chaos. And just, I mean, really, it was the title alone that got me. This is a 10-day-old news story, but I am always wondering what these teens are up to and who they're going to get and how they're going to do it. Back in my day, we stole road signs and we toilet papered houses. Now they will shoot you and take your Kia. So you have to be very careful. Kids are fucking crazy. So I thought, let's watch this. And then when we're done, we'll talk about this Port Huron case. And then we will go. And Laura says we will spay, chip, vaccinate, and license her for free. And Laura's offering transport. We need to find this Hugon a home. And we will, Laura. We will. We will. Toombs, nice to see you. I miss you so much. We're going to talk about a 50-year-old cold case today. Kind of reminds me of Henry. We need to get together on that. Also, if you want a fucking Hugon, Laura's got a Hugon at the shelter. She's trying to find it a home. And I know how much you love animals. You've got horses, you've got cats. What about a Hugon, young lady? Yes, Port Huron is where the case is that we're going to talk about. Okay. And okay, Kevin, you wrong. It's actually quite a few white teens. In fact, it's like the show Euphoria, basically. What's happening? It's actually just kind of, to me, I can't tell if Fox News is just freaking out and making shit up, or if they're just not getting a TikTok craze, or if the teens really are out of control. You tell me, okay? You tell me. And then we're going to talk about this Port Huron case. But this news story is just like, I don't know if I'm in an idiocracy or not. And when you start questioning it, that's when you might be in it, you know?
Welcome back into Live Now from Fox. We want to shift gears here a bit and talk about some of the trends that we're seeing across the country here. Do want to bring this up on your screen here. And what you're looking at is this viral teen takeover movement here that we are seeing across the country. And I just want to give you a little bit of background of what we're seeing, as from upscale waterfront neighborhoods to malls, parks, and packed restaurants, viral teen takeovers are erupting across the country, with police responding to fights.
So just to be clear, a lot of these teen takeovers that I was looking up that they're referencing are like attempts at flash mobs and loitering. It's just people who are like, let's just meet here and stand around and see what happens. It's like, let's just meet here and have a dance party. And then police and people come and they're like, what are you fucking teens doing? And then it turns into craziness. And I'm like, what's the difference between this and just people gathered? Like, it seems just silly. Yeah, I know that they go, well, in San Francisco, what I was reading is that they go in and they just steal everything from the Apple store with masks on their face. In these instances, the ones that they're referencing, they're making it seem like that, but it's everything I could find. It's just kids standing around in groups. And they're like, let's all meet here. The kids here are out of control. Well, that's saying something coming from an ex-club kid who hung out at the Limelight. Holy shit. It must be bad. Dude, she will transport. She will transport. Here, let's continue to see what Fox is freaking out about.
Robberies, vandalism, and gunfire as massive crowds of juveniles overwhelm public spaces. And you can see there, we have 4 boxes there of these teen takeovers in Chicago, Florida, Washington, D.C., and Atlanta, Georgia. So what we want to do now is bring in our next guest onto the program here, Michael Gold, who is the founder of the NYPD K-9 unit and a former NYPD officer. Michael, thank you so much for joining us here today. So talk to us a little bit about the difficulties here that law enforcement officers experience when it comes to trying to deal with a large crowds of juveniles like some of these that we've seen on the screen here.
Before he answers, I do want to say that when I first started watching this, I definitely thought my first response in my head when he said, what do you think's the problem here? I thought this guy in yellow was going to go, well, they're kids, so you can't hit them. Like, I really thought that would be his response.
Yeah, certainly. So thanks for having me, Bowen. So this is nothing new. Urban teenage violence, teenage rebellion is part of the fabric of our society. We all, to some degree.
Well, Kevin, you know what? You're right. I missed it. He found a way. Old light yellow jacket here found a way to slip in urban teenage violence. You're right. You know what? You're right. It's just an opportunity to be racist. And what's funny is when you go back, it was quite a few young white girls in zip-up hoodies. And it's just interesting that he chose to throw that in. Cool. Okay. So now we see they're fabricating a story of teens going wild. We have Kia boys on the loose. Why are they focusing on loitering?
Rebelled when we were teenagers.
Aren't we in a war? I thought we were in a war. Wasn't Trump besties with Epstein? Why aren't they?
This, of course, is taken to another level. But nothing new. In the 80s, I was a member of the NYPD, and there was a phenomenon called wilding. Wilding meant gangs of teenagers.
Wilding out. He just saw the show Wilding Out, and he's so upset. He is so upset about Wilding Out.
Spontaneously went on sprees of violence, mugging people in Central Park through the theater district, unannounced and very spontaneous. It's difficult.
If he's referencing the Central Park 5, they were found innocent, and it was one man, and he was an adult. But go off, Queen.
Because teenagers are generally not held to the same standards as adults. So they're treated completely different by the criminal justice system. In fact, there's a separate system. There's a juvenile justice system. So it's very difficult. So nothing really happens. There's no consequence. And
look at all those white kids running. Also, there it is. They're kids. You can't hit them. I knew it. He'd figure out a way.
live in a very permissive society now. So it's a very difficult problem. And as the summer approaches, it's going to continue.
Yeah,
So
this actually is John Ray. Now, this is a problem right here. And I also recall in Vegas a group of teens beating a kid to death over a vape. I don't think Fox ever covered that.
What role do we see social media play when it comes to these takeovers, and what sort of does that really prove it to be more
So there's a juvenile curfew in DC. Interesting.
difficult for officers, or does that help to maybe track down a location that it might spark at and kind of nip it before it happens?
Right. So it's a double.
Oh, wow. Oh, they even took the Lime scooters. Okay.
Short. So law enforcement does have the intel of searching social media.
So it is just a lot of kids gathering.
But these things happen so rapidly. Law enforcement just don't have the resources to deal with these types of things. When you look at these,
You know, it's weird to think that we live in a government that's constantly trying to F us in the A and seems to not be afraid of stripping away our rights. But all the police departments in the nation can't seem to handle a bunch of teens. Just an interesting thought.
hundreds of kids, maybe 20 cops. And they can't really be arrested. They're not detained in the same way as an adult would be. They're just turned over to their parents, to the custody of their parents, or to a guard.
We can't really put them in ICE custody because it's a lot of white kids. So, like, what is this guy? We can all read between the lines. Kevin was right. You right, Kevin. Jesus.
Guardian. So they never
We had to deport them back to high school. What are we doing? What are we doing?
interact with adult prisoners or adult arrestees, I should say. So it's a tremendous problem. And as I said, the summer triggers all this thing, permissiveness, parents not taking responsibility. So it's a...
You know, it's weird because the 4-year-olds at the border, they get them a lawyer, separate them from their parents, and then make them go to court in handcuffs. And they're like 4 and 5. And this guy's like, there's nothing we can do. Their parents are bad. So we let them set the cars on fire. It's like, what are you talking about? Arrest these little shits. If they're beating the fuck out of people, lighting shit on fire, and vandalizing things, arrest them like you do all the other kids who actually probably didn't do it. What about that?
Societal problem that's existed before, but social media certainly adds fuel to the fire, for sure.
And first of all, he says social media adds fuel to the fire as he has ring lights coming out of the top of his glasses. That's fantastic. I mean, they're gathering. They're just gathering if there are fights and the police can't handle the fights. I don't know. Like, you can't get around teens. I figured, maybe first of all, he showed DC, right? Like, that's a place with a lot of federal worker. Like, isn't there there's a lot of government shit there, right? Like, it's kind of a big deal. Like, how can you not whoop their little asses and put them in jail? But you can, it's just weird to me. It feels like there's no game plan for a bunch of teens standing around and some of them getting in random fights. It really just looked like 6th Street to me. We have cops on horses who can handle 6th Street. They don't even get off their horses half the time. They just take a poop and everyone runs. Like, I don't understand the chaos element. There doesn't need to be chaos. Like, what is it? Yeah, they're like, oh, it's the parents' fault. Well, I mean, you make it pretty easy for these kids to get weapons and guns. I'm just saying, it's kind of.
I also just did want to play out one of these comments here that we heard from a Florida sheriff here. I just want to play it and see what your thoughts.
Hey, my buddy Ron was in a chain gang in the 70s, and he said they're no fun at all. Also, your horse could patrol, and we would play that song. That while your horse patrolled, okay, we would play George Michael. Yeah, everybody's like, put the kids outside, don't let them be on social media, but then you do, and now you're saying that social media is making them go outside. What the fuck? They get these kids off the internet. God damn it. They're gathering and it's social media is a problem because they're now outside. So you want them inside off social media? Every time that happens, families end up shot. Like, what are we doing? We need to figure out what we want the kids to do because we're confusing them. And I think maybe gaslighting them.
Thoughts are on this here real quick.
But I'll guarantee you, they start cutting the fool, tearing up people's businesses.
Oh, hell. Now Grady Judd's in on it. Now he's going to fucking threaten the kids. If they start doing that, we're going to feed them to the gators. And then I'm going to hold up a giant Pikachu at a podium and call him a pedophile. Okay. Well, I mean, I guess. Or you could just like do what Darlene said and open up the goddamn theaters and the fucking skating rinks. Maybe you could give them something to do, Mr. Judd.
Fighting in the streets. We're going to lock them up, all of them.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, if you engage in legal mutual combat in the state of Florida, they will shoot you. Apparently, according to the sheriff, just threatened to shoot kids for hand-to-hand combat. This feels weird. This feels weird. He's very funny. I enjoy him as a character, but I feel like he takes it too far. I feel like sometimes he's like, these fucking Californians, and he's talking about someone from Florida. It's like, dude, chill. You're in Florida. Like, no one's trying to get you. He flipped out on vegan barbecue once. That was pretty good. Yeah, this is fucking Grady. We'll light him up. You understand? If your team gets in the street, I'm gonna whip them with a stick.
Personally, make sure they're home when they need to be. Then we're going to come lock you up too.
So just listening to the sheriff there, or could we possibly see any sort of repercussions when it comes to parents of these kids that are out and about with these takeovers?
Yeah, certainly. So the sheriff is right. It's a little tough talk because the reality is police can arrest everybody that crosses the sidewalk illegally. But if the prosecutor and the judge don't do any type of formal sentencing and holding them accountable.
First, we're going to shoot your kid in the face, and then we're going to take them to a judge, and we're going to say, these parents was bad. They are extremely disrespectful, and that's why if any of them disrespect you, Darlene, I will personally call Sheriff Judd, Grady Judd, and I will say, light them up. Okay, you light them up. They came at Darlene, they could get lit up. This is why I live in Montana. Exactly. How is Montana? Do you like it there? It looks beautiful. It really does. Drive that. Okay, first of all, as a stick driver, I'm offended. Second of all, what year, make, and model? Yeah, he is a hard lead-in. I'm a hard lead-in. Cross the sidewalk, get lit up. I can light them up. God damn, Darlene, that's the shirt. Star that. That's the next merch. All right. I can't. They're going to go on 5 more minutes about this. I really can't handle it. I'm going to let them go a little longer because I do find it interesting, and I did not get past 4 minutes of this video before I couldn't stop laughing. So I'm going to let it play a little bit, and then we're going to talk about this Port Huron case.
The parents will be accountable civilly for sure because kids have no money. So they have nothing to.
Now, you know what? Fuck that. Because Kevin's baby's going to be 1 next week. Happy birthday, Kevin's baby. You're 1. You're going to be 1. I got something for your baby. Lock him up. Light him up. Not that. Not your baby. For your baby, I have this. This is a happy birthday for your baby. Congratulations to Kevin's 1-year-old baby. It is not wrong. It is right. That baby is right. And that baby gets this.
Get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Big boy ain't getting on the roof. Never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Big boy ain't getting on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy drill on the roof. Never seen a big boy drill on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy drill on the roof. Big boy drilling on the roof. Big boy drilling on the roof. Big boy ain't drilling on the roof. roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Big boy ain't driving on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. How you do it like that? Damn, you got tools on your back. Driving on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Shit, big boy get loose. Shit, big boy get loose. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never, oh shit, he's going on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy hop on the roof. How you doing like that? Look, shit, you just like a back. Shit, pick up your back. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Get on the roof. Get on the roof. Get your ass out the roof. Get your ass back out the roof. I ain't never see a big boy leap on the roof. Get the big ass out.
I'll tell you where that year went. That year went to this shit. I have hands. That's what your baby was doing for a year. Your baby was like, I got fucking hands. I got fucking feet. Let me put this foot in my mouth. Where are my knees? I don't have knees. I'm a baby. Your baby was like, what are eyes? How do I uncross the, oh. How do I cough? How do I spit up? How do I shit my pants? Why am I sideways? How do I roll on my back? Everything in the mouth. What is this, poop? Babies are crazy. Toombs, girl, Ryan missed you. That's what your baby was doing. Your baby was figuring out, I got these things. They can grab. I can spit. Don't eat that. That mama. That's what your baby's been doing. It's called growing up. You need to cherish this year. You need to put that big baby on the roof, okay? That's why I played it for you. And also, today you're not wrong. Today you're right. You're right because you're a dad who has a 1-year-old that's turning 1, and that's crazy. So you get to be right today, all right? And the rest of the week you can be right. And because you were actually right about that news story. That was a very racist newscast, okay? So, moving on. Happy birthday to your baby. Congratulations. And you've been through a lot. Because I remember when you would come on here and you would talk about how you were stressed about some court shit and all this other stuff. And now look at you. Now look at you and your 1-year-old drunk baby that puts things in its mouth and is trying its best to figure out what hands and feet are and words and who's dad and who's mom and don't get in the van, shit like that. So you're doing good because it's alive. Okay? And you don't seem to be in jail for doing anything wrong to it. So good parent. At this point, if you can just keep the kids alive and away from Grady Judd in the streets of Florida, you're going to be okay. Okay? Your baby's a senior now? Have you fought in the yard yet? Has your kid stepped up and been like, come on, mom? You're going to have to fight your baby soon. That usually happens before 21. You're going to have to do a fist fight. I hope you're ready. I hope you're prepped because they get big. First one, 16 months was colic and fucking JG Cruz was going through that. Oh my God, your baby and JG's baby are colt babies. Oh my God, you were technically a pre-colt baby. Ooh, double colt babies. We didn't even know. I don't think your baby was in the cult at the time. You should go to the select board meeting. You should absolutely go. You should take Kevin's baby and you should hold it up and you should go, my babies are the 8 poodles since they were born. You tied their umbilical cord together. Is it because you want to save money on a leash? That ain't right. That ain't right. You should just get a leash. I'll send you a leash. Also, do you need another Hugin? Do you need another pup? Because Laura has a Boston Terrier. Let me tell you about it. Okay. They turned 3. Oh my God. 8 3-year-old poodles. It's 24 years worth of poodles right there. Toombs would love half a baby. Toombs, I don't think that's okay. To knot it off. Okay. What does that mean? Oh, like to tie it off, not to like swing them? Okay, good. Because that is not what I was picturing. I'll share my baby with you. Okay, well, you know what? This is the type of stuff that gets people canceled. So we're not doing this. Okay, everybody calm down. We're not sharing babies. Again, trying to take me in the direction of Micah Stauffer. Why no? I called my mom a bitch once, 2007. I still feel bad. Is this for the Obology line? You definitely put that in chat. But also that is the shirt. So that's going to be the shirt. That's the next merch. It's going to say, I called my mom a bitch once, 2007. I still feel bad-ish. And then we're going to put a happy face. And that's the new merch. Okay. And then this is also the new merch. This is the second shirt we're getting. So it falls off. If the mom doesn't bite it off, they don't bleed out. And you also have to make sure they don't eat more than 2 after birth, or you will get brucellosis. And we learned that because Vintage Film Festival. And that is the third, that's a coffee cup. I called my mom a bad word one time. That is a coffee cup, and it will feature your likeness, and you will get no cuts from it. Okay. She instantly slapped me across the face. That's the back of the cup, and we're going to keep the spelling errors because it's very funny. Okay. Also, hello, Witch Witch. She's a witch. How are you doing? Oh my God, we got Tooms and Witch Witch today. Okay, look. What I'm going to share with you today, and let me pull this up properly. Okay. Because I'm going to be, well, here, I'll just pull myself up for this because I'm going to read to you. I hope you're ready for soft, soothing voice of Smoker. Hello, Amy Thorpe. Thank you for acknowledging. Thank you very much. This is going to be the 5th t-shirt. And we'll get some cool clip art of hot sauce for it. And was it lava soap? Because if it wasn't, she didn't do it right. Okay. So I'm in a lot of weird, here's the preface for what we're going to talk about. I'm in a lot of weird Facebook groups. Some of them are like, help me find my family, or, you know, adopted, trying to find my mom, or like missing persons, cold case, you know, those. So one of them is a page where people can post like old cold cases, and they can, palm olive, that would kill me. I'm allergic to palm oil. So they, and also bless you for that. That had to taste awful. So some of these pages, it's like old cold cases, like super old ones. And there was one that caught my eye because I remember hearing, or not really hearing, I think I read about this a while back, but it didn't have names. But I was looking up Michigan murders because I was looking into, you guys remember the movie Blackbird and Larry Hall and the Hall brothers, and then the whole Michigan boy ring, Jacob Wetterling, all these weird like Michigan to the Midwest cases with like kidnapped paper boys and paper girls and kids just turning up missing all the time. But also there were a lot of violent assaults on teen girls. And a lot of those I attributed or thought could be attributed to the same cluster of men in the 70s and 80s that had been perpetrating several brutal, violent crimes. And by that, I mean, like, I shouldn't even say cluster. It was like 2 guys. It was like Larry Hall and his cohort. I believe it was his brother at the time, or a guy that he hung out with. Anyway. Yeah, Michigan murders are difficult, but like there have been a lot of missing persons in Michigan murders, that specifically in Flint, that is a massive cluster. I told you guys we were going to talk about a while back. A lot of stuff changed in some of those cases. So I'm still working on it. That's like a long-term 10-year battle for me. So we will be presenting that soon, but I've been very consciously aware of like the colder cases in the area, especially because some of the suspects could be older in this one, and some of the stuff that they did. One in particular, someone left 2 perfectly washed skulls, human skulls for women, on a baseball diamond. And the women were in this cluster of other women that all knew the same 2 or 3 people. And they all were on like Fenton Avenue in like in this very specific area of Flint. And I used to have a map that was like 8 feet tall on my back wall throughout COVID, where I was charting all of them. And they all kind of were connected through the same 2 group of people, and nobody seemed to care. And by that, I mean, Flint PD would give me all kinds of information because they literally didn't care. And at the time, one of the girls in that cluster of missing or murdered women, the 2 whose skulls ended up on the baseball diamond were connected, but they didn't actually know each other. They knew each other through people. And again, one of these people, it's a guy who like stole catalytic converters, and he was a really old guy, and he had connections to all these different areas around Michigan, Illinois, Wisconsin, like just interesting stuff. And so I've been looking into a lot of these, and I started going further back, and it was weird because there was one thing that caught my eye because, like, how do I put this? We don't talk about profiling a whole lot. And also, hello, Noel, please do email me. Nice to see you, hon. We don't talk about profiling a whole lot because, like, unless there were very specific signatures, time frame, elements to the crime that directly connect or have been connected to other crimes, like it's I feel like it's very presumptive to assume everything is connected, but it is very weird to consider that in the 70s and 80s there were significantly less reported or public crimes, I guess, than there are now. Like the crime rate was really, really low back then. And in the specific areas we're talking about, there seemed to be an abundance of like really young kids going missing who were paper kids and stuff. But the clusters of young girls, both in groups of 1 or 2, that ended up being attacked where one survived, much like how with the Zodiac killer, Majot survived, but Diane Farron didn't. Stuff like that. You see these cases where there's one person who survives, so they don't really get considered like a double homicide. So they don't end up in the statistics with missing girls that would come up later, like Lyric and Elizabeth, or even go forward to Delphi, even though that one's solved. But you know what I mean? How they put out all these documentaries where they were like, there's only 17 groups of girls who have been attempted kidnapped in the last 30 years. And I was like, no, there's like hundreds. But the problem is, as far as kidnapped and or homicided, murdered, if one survives, it's not going to fall into that statistic. So I started charting them and looking into them. And I thought that it was just super weird because the algorithm provides, right? And yes, agree with the stigma. And here's the thing. Genetic genealogy is taking over and more people are trusting NCC more. So a lot of stuff is getting solved. And this case popped up that I wanted to show you. And it's about a St. Clair sheriff making an arrest in a cold case in this area in Port Huron. And I noticed one of the comments, which I'm not going to show the person, because they're a private individual who commented on a private page. So I'm not going to put them on blast, But I do want to show you the article that it was linked under. I'm just going to remove comments from the page real quick. So you can see. Tried not to sneeze. Okay. So, and forgive me for all of the fucking pop-ups. I don't think you can see them all, thank goodness, but there's a ton. Okay. So somebody commented under this article, I wonder if this is going to help with the Madeline Summer case, which nobody talks about, and there's hardly anything about it online. And then I noticed that these women who are, in their 50s, 60s, 70s are all talking about this case. It was like a really long thread. And they're talking about this girl, Madeline Summer, and they're like, oh, I know Lynn. And I'm like, what is that case? And excuse me. And a bunch of them were like, hey, we should find out if these cases are in any way connected. And so I'm like, well, before I find out what Madeline Summer's case is, let's see what this one they're commenting on is. Hugon's snoring in the background. So here's the article they're commenting on. It says, here's what we know about a 1980 cold case investigation. The St. Clair County Sheriff has made an arrest in a case that's gone unsolved 43 years. Douglas Lamming, 70, of Fort Grady Out, was arrested Friday afternoon for the slaying of Karen Humphrey, a 21-year-old woman who's found dead in the state game area of Beard Hills on November 2nd, 1980. Okay, so this is a case from 1980. Now, the case we're going to look at is from 9 years before that, but let's keep going. A news release announcing the arrest states detectives identified Lamming as a suspect using genetic genealogy, a crime-solving method that compares DNA samples. We all know about that. They said it worked with Othram, which, yay. Let's keep going. All right. Sheriff Matt King said in a news conference, Lamming was identified as a suspect in August 2022 and confirmed to be a genetic match for the DNA samples in 2023. The diligence of investigators, let's kiss the investigators' ass real quick. Okay. St. Clair County Prosecutor Mike Wendling praised the sheriff's office. Of course, we already praised him. This was years and years. Okay. A probable cause affidavit filed in Lamming's case states he was identified as a match to a DNA sample found on a vaginal swab. So this indicates, obviously, some sort of sexual assault, right? Though the report identifies Humphrey as a victim of sexual assault, Lamming reportedly told St. Clair County Sheriff's detectives he had consensual sex with Humphrey. It's unclear from the affidavit as to when Lamming told detectives the consensual sex happened. The report states Lamming made several contradictory statements to detectives. He has not been charged with any form of sexual assault in the case. An investigation into Lamming remains ongoing, according to Wendling. King and Heinrich both said they would not discuss any personal connections between Lamming and Humphrey in order to avoid compromising the case. Heinrich refused to comment on whether Lamming was under investigation for sex assault. Now, this is the place where Karen Humphrey's body was found in November of 1980. So let's look at that date, November 1980. This is the fall, and it's up there in a very cold area, right? Michigan, Port Huron. This is up like by the Great Lakes and shit. This is fucking freezing. Hello, Ernie. Nice to see you. So it's November. It's cold. The camera's pointing southeast into these woods, and this woman's body was found, and she was sexually assaulted. So he was arraigned, right? His bond was set at $2 million. So this is the article that came out about this guy. All right. This is what Karen Marie Humphrey looked like. So what's interesting is the comments underneath the article on my private Facebook page, or this private Facebook page that I'm in, was a bunch of women saying, I wonder if this has anything to do with Madeline Summer. And I'm like, where have I heard that before? Where have I heard that before? And I think it was talking to a group of women about Michelle McNamara and how there was a really old case from like 84 that she wanted to solve before she died of a girl who went to school with her. And so here's the thing that's wild is the any connection comment led to a lot of discussion, and it ended up moving to another page because people were like, it is really weird that, there's this one guy and he killed a girl in the woods. It was 9 years apart. And I'm sitting there going, well, it's not that weird. Like Michigan's big, the Great Lakes area is really big, and there's a lot of cases, I'm sure. Also, hello, Melissa Turd is here. So this is the comment. I'm not showing you the person's name, but this is what they posted. They were like, I wonder if there's any connection to this case. And it was this Sarnia, Ontario teen's death. Okay, 48 years later, Karen Humphrey's killer has been identified. And I'm like, oh, that's just Karen Humphrey. But then underneath it, they're talking about this other woman, this Madeline Summer. So I'm like, okay, let's go do a little research. Let's find out who Madeline Summer is. So that's where we leave off here, because it sent me down a rabbit hole. I'm going to read you a quick description, then I'm going to show you some of the stuff about it. On October 18th, 1971, so again, fall, October 18th, 1971, Madeline Summer, 17, and her friend Lynn Pionk, sophomores at Port Huron Northern High School, are walking to the high school at about 7 p.m. through a wooded area near the Black River Canal when they are attacked. Here's something that I eventually learned is that these girls were cheerleaders and they were on their way to like a late cheer practice. They were leaving one of the girls' homes and they were cutting through this area. And I'm going to show you the area right now so you can get an idea. Let me open up maps, which hopefully does not freeze me. And what's even weirder is so rarely in a case this old, like for example, with Henry Bedard's case, if you look up the railroad tracks, those are gone. They like moved the railroad tracks. Like everything's moved. There's still that one building, right? And that little overlook, but so much stuff just looks different. It's really, really hard to see terrain now compared to maps back then with all the growth and industry that goes on. and to see a perfect replica. Like, it's very rare unless it's like a really, really out there country area sometimes. But rapid growth of areas and populace, it obviously causes things to change. But what's really weird is that even the exact name of the store is the same. Like, this is the exact store. It looks the exact same as it did in 1971. It's still available on Google Maps. It's called Mary Maxim. And even in the old news article, it's like, oh, behind the Mary Maxim store. And I'm like, that's wild because it's in the exact location. The canal even has the exact same crossing area where this all happened. So I'm going to show you real quick. So this is the Mary Maxim store. And it's like, it's fabrics, hobbies, crafts. I guess it's like Hobby Lobby. So basically here's the direction. I think you can see my cursor. I'm going to make myself small so you can see it. So the girls are over here, right? And look, even a Tim Hortons, damn, Lucky's. Okay, so this is Port Huron Northern High School, right? So this is the middle school. I do believe back then they were actually walking from this direction because this is where one of their houses was. And they were going to cross back here because we know that the crime occurred behind the Mary Maxim store. And they were supposed to cross there's like a little spot right here, a ditch. And you can cross it and do a shortcut, or I believe it's through here. At the time, there was one here, and then there's the one here. And so they're walking this way. And I don't believe any of this was there. This was all like trees. So they're walking through these woods, and they're going to cut across the baseball diamond and then boom, be at the high school. Okay. So they're coming this way. And they're cutting across and they're going through, and then boom, they enter the woods. All right. And this is all wooded area, and they're going this way. And right about here is where the crime occurred. All right. So I'm going to let you look at that map while I read you the rest. Okay. So they're walking through a wooded area in the Black River Canal, which is right by that track circle. All right. To the left of it when they're attacked. Lynn was first hit in the head. And they said it was by some sort of club device. Now, I don't know if they meant like a golf club or a club to lock up your car, but they just said club. So she was hit in the head, clubbed, immediately lost consciousness. She would regain consciousness a few minutes later and heard Madeline screaming. So Lynn gets up. She's covered in blood. She takes off running back to this parking lot because this parking lot right here was still there. So they're in these woods. She takes off. She gets hit in the head as soon as they enter. They're heading this way. So she gets hit in the head. Her friend, she hears her screaming somewhere over here in the woods. She runs back to this parking lot and she sees this couple. And this couple is getting in their car and they see her. Okay. So they're all hearing the girl scream. She hears the girl screams. The couple finds her. The couple says, as Lynn ran out of the woods, 3 boys were behind her. Like they were chasing her. But then they ducked back into the woods. They turned around when they saw the couple and they ran back in the woods. So then they help her out. Okay. And then her friend, Madeline, ends up dying 6 days later in the hospital. She doesn't, from what I could tell from everything I've read, it was a bit blurry for her. Obviously, she had a massive head injury. They said that she was treated with just scrapes and cuts. In the news articles, no, she had a horrible head injury. There's one news article that actually shows it in black and white, and they show the head wounds from the other girl. So these people beat one girl to death in the woods. And then the other girl runs out to the parking lot. This couple is like, oh my God, let me help you. They see 3. So the couple who's conscious, they're alert, they're paying attention. It's something that they're going to remember as a girl running out of the woods. They say 3 boys behind her, chasing her, turns around, runs back in the woods. She, who just had a head injury, is in shock and trauma, heard her friend scream, likely does remember it like plain as day, but also might remember something's different on account of being hit in the head. Said in a couple of news articles there was 2, or she didn't know how many, but she felt one person brush past her. Okay. So That's terrifying. It's 1971. It's October. These are two cheerleader girls. One of them ends up with that happening to her and dying. And then the other one, gets saved by these two people who help. But what's weird is 3 boys. They keep saying boys. So, and it's right behind the high school and it's in the woods. So it makes me think, okay, they would say men if they were men. So I think the age range that we should be looking for is people around the age of the girls, right? Maybe a little older at most. So I'm going to read to you some of the news articles and we'll take a look at, there's very minimal stuff. Actually, let's just go straight to, we're going to go straight to Web Sleuth so I can just show you, there's not a lot in there, but I do want to show you what there is. Okay. So let me add this to the stage. Okay. So this is one of the articles. I'll try to make it really big. I'm already losing my voice, so I'm probably going to have to end this soon. Woo. Okay. So her battle with death ended at 9:05 a.m. Sunday in the intensive care unit in St. Joseph's, Mount Clemens. Miss Madeline J. Summer, her 17-year-old daughter, Mr. and Mrs. Russell J. Summer, and it gives their address, 921 Stone Street, who was the victim of a brutal and unprovoked assault on Monday, will be buried at the Ruby Cemetery on Wednesday. Now, here's what's interesting. This reminds me of the 2 girls in Houston I was telling you guys about. It's the exact same story. They cut through a culvert. They were on their way somewhere else. It was at night. And in their case, it was the 90s. It was 20 years later, but it was a gang, and they were a gang of teens. And they did something horrible to both of the girls we talked about. We won't go through it again, but they ended up dead and dropped in the woods. And it's just crazy to me that they were chasing this girl out. They were going to end her, And yeah, it's so wild that it has taken this long, but it's such a weird crime to not solve. Just a week ago today, Madeline and a friend, Miss Lynn Pionk, 15, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Edward Pionk. So they were leaving her house on Maple Street. So if you want to look at the map, it's 2525 Maple Street. They were heading to the high school, okay? They were attacked by 3 still unidentified boys near the rear of the Mary Maxim Inc. building on Holland Avenue. The girls were walking to Port Huron Northern High School to attend a Girls Athletic Association meeting. The unidentified boys beat the girls with a type of club in what city police describe as an unprovoked attack. Madeline suffered a fractured skull. Lynn was treated for cuts and bruises and a broken right thumb. Now, here's the thing is Lynn was hit over the head. So Lynn Pionk is still alive. I've tried to find some interviews with her, but a lot of it is like she's just terrified and she can't remember much. And what she does remember, she's already told them. Beating injuries to fatal girl. I tried to read this and the link was broken, so I will try to find a copy of it. Right here, Madeline was on her way to cheerleading practice when she was attacked. The severity of her injuries led to her passing away. This was 1971, October. So here is a very good detailed breakdown someone put. Again, they were walking near the Black River Canal when they were attacked. She died 6 days later. 24 years after deadly beating, all who knew teens still ask why. So this, I believe, was 2007 or 8 when this one came out. Wait. No. This was, yeah, I think it was 2007, right? Lynn Pionk had nightmares as a child. She dreamed about being beaten. Sometimes she was alone. Sometimes someone was with her. My grandmother would tell me to be careful, that it was going to happen, she said. But Lynn Pionk would never have predicted the best friend she affectionately called Maddie would die after a savage beating in a wooded area off Holland Avenue. On October 18th, 1971, 15-year-old Lynn, her 17-year-old classmate Madeline, missed a ride to the Girls Athletic Association meeting at Port Huron Northern High School at about 6:35. The 2 sophomores left Lynn's house on Maple Street to walk to the school. They decided to take a well-known shortcut through a wooded area of Holland near Pine Grove. As they neared a floodgate that once spanned the Black River Canal, see how it says once spanned because they got rid of that floodgate, the girls were ambushed and beaten by at least 2 other people. Now, all the articles from back then I read said 3, including from the 2 witnesses who were not hit over the head, not traumatized at the time yet. They said 3. Lynn needed 11 stitches to close a wound on her head. See how Lynn was also beaten. over the head. She was treated for cuts, bruises, and a broken thumb. Madeline suffered a fractured skull and other head injury. She died 6 days later. I would like to know why it happened, said Lynn, who's now married and living in Marysville. So the timeline is the girls leave 2525 Maple at 6:35. They take a shortcut through the wooded area near the rear of the Mary Maxim, which let's go back to this, which is right here. This is the Mary Maxim store. Okay. And at the time, the deal is we're going to go through here. We're going to cut up through this. And there's like a culvert thing that's not there anymore. And then they were going to come up, whoops, through the high school. Okay. And then boom, they're at the high school. And again, this was all wooded area at the time. But this, I believe, might have also been wooded area. I need to double check because some of these houses were there and it was making me think who lived the closest to this or who hung out near here. But it's so strange that this building is the exact same. And the couple had parked right here and they see her running and these 3 boys chasing them. So it's just weird. Anyway, I'm going to leave that up while let me show you a picture of Madeline Summer because that would be nice, wouldn't it? There are very few on there and unfortunately, or available online. Unfortunately, they're in black and white, old newspapers. But Douglas Laming is the guy that people are saying, I wonder if he was, one of the people here. Let me show. I wonder if he was one of the people involved because again, it was 3. So it's not going to be one dude, it's going to be 3 involved. But was he a part of it on account of what he did to the other woman? But this is her. So let me read you the rest of this. And then I need to take a break because I have to go tinkle and I do apologize. Okay. So let me go ahead. So there's promising leads under investigation 25 days after the assault. Several promising leads are being checked by police as they continue their efforts to find the killer or killers of Madeline J. Summer. Some 50 secret tips first of all, how dare you do a TikTok? How dare you do a TikTok challenge on Tombs? She's not going to ask you about the bird. How dare you? Okay, anyway. Some 50 secret tips. So this is really weird, what I'm about to read you guys. And you know what? I have to pee before I read this. It's a little long and it's complicated. But I'm so sorry. This is so unprofessional, but I have to. I cannot take it anymore. I'm going crazy. I'm going to have to tinkle. I'm going to need you guys to do some lurks and squirms real quick.
Hello, folks. Nuck here. A lot of you have been asking me about my morning routine, so here it is. It's my new teeth. Snort-worthy smile, if you ask me. So I like to start my morning by waking up at 2 in the afternoon, get a quick lift, lick, and lurk in before I go off and spend the next several hours in the woods. And this time is mainly for my free-form lurks. I just lurk like no one's watching. Then I head into town to do some casual creeping. I mean, I'm freaking everyone out because I'm getting in my squirms. But you gotta squirm to stay firm. I forget what I'm doing for the next 3 days and get an office job that I absolutely hate. Spend most of my time hiding in the storage closet, but all my coworkers know I'm in there. The next 26 hours I'm purposefully unconscious. Come to so I can try on some tuxes because I'm getting married. Love to Ragnora. I'll practice my funeral for 30 minutes, at which point I gotta pretend to listen to someone tell me about a dream they have, but I'm really just thinking about what I'm gonna say. Then, and this is important, I'll just wait, eerily, for hours. What am I waiting for? A big heap of nothing. I wait to wait. I'll spend 2 minutes trying to create fire with my mind, giving me just enough time for a last lurk before the day begins. That's the Bobo way.
Okay, there. I got it out. All right. I have to read this to you because this is one of the weirdest things. And I'm very curious. Is there anybody in here who ever called in a tip for anything in the 70s or 80s? Because I've seen many, many methods in all of my cold case research of different ways that departments or communities or family, friends Missing persons associations have tried to garner tips, but one of the most complicated methods to date is probably this one. It kind of blows my mind. Like, now you can think about it. You can go on, you can call Crime Stoppers. It's always been a thing. Even with the Zodiac, they were like, you can call into this news program that's airing live and talk to us. BTK used to, write to the like the amount of classifieds killers who were like, I'll communicate with you through newspaper, because they want to be fucking creative. They think they're fucking, they all think they're going to be the next big DJ, but it's like, no, you're fucking not. You're just a loser who kills people because you're a fucking bitch. So all these people would like figure out different ways to like, how do I get this tip in so that I'm not going to get in trouble? And nowadays it's like, how do I get this tip in so I get the reward money? Like, that's how society has shifted. And this specific case, what's interesting is they gathered all this money. I think it was like $9,000. And they're like, we're going to give this away to somebody who has a tip, anybody who can lead us. It was like one of the first Crime Stoppers situations. And the amount of editorials of people, and they'll put their address and their name. They're like, Mimi Missile from 1427 Maple Avenue, and I attached $6 into, or I put $6 into this letter that I would like to be donated to paying for XYZ patrol. And this, like, they would, the commentary, the editorials were crazy. This spurned a lot of issues in the area, I found out. Like, the amount of news articles where people are like, why are you giving reward money to someone for a tip? If they knew something, they should come forward because of the good of their heart. You're just rewarding people for being bad people, or you're rewarding someone who is a piece of shit for not speaking up to begin with. And it was interesting because it's like, wow, like, that dialogue is not something that people have as much anymore, if at all. Now it's like, where's the reward money? And back then it was like, how dare you're giving away award money? It's just interesting. The dynamic blew my mind. So let's look at one of the most complicated ways to give a tip, but also maybe creative. I don't know. Promising leads under investigation. Okay. They're being checked by police as they continue their efforts to find the killer or killers of Madeline J. Summer, 17. Some 50 secret tips from the Times Herald Secret Tip Reward Fund have been turned over to detectives Herbert Collins and Charles Neruda. It has been 25 days since Madeline and Lynn Pionk, 15, both Port Huron Northern High School sophomores, were attacked in a wooded area off Holland Avenue. Madeline died October 24th in St. Joseph's Hospital, Mount Clemens, from injuries suffered in beating. The reward fund, initiated by Fred G. Eaton, publisher and editor of the Times Herald, for information leading to the arrest and conviction of Madeline's killer, stands at $9,228. So pay attention to this, because this is wild. Anyone having information about the crime may use the secret tip method of forwarding it to police without revealing his identity. Tipsters should write their information on a sheet of paper along with a rearrangement of the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on both the sheet and on the corner of the sheet, which is torn off and kept as a receipt. The sheet then should be mailed to secret tip, the Times Herald, Port Huron. If a secret tip leads to the apprehension and conviction of the killer, matching the numbers and torn off corner with the tip will permit payment of the reward. Detective Collins said several persons are scheduled to take polygraph examinations in connection with the recent investigation. We are still waiting and hoping to get a break we need in this case. I have yet to find out who was polygraphed. It's very difficult to find. I am in the process of trying to find any old news footage reporting this with any crime scene footage. But what the fucking cakewalk church raffle potluck shit is this? arranged these numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on both the sheet and the corner of the sheet, which is torn off and kept as a receipt. Like, what are we doing here, people? That is wild. But then I started thinking about it and I was like, or is it genius? Because then if somebody does tip in something anonymously and they don't seek the reward, but they're right, you now have a potential torn edge of a paper out there that links to this person. Maybe DNA from having to tear it. But Kevin has exposed the big flaw in this, because what happens if two people pick the same arrangement of numbers? Like, this is so confusing to me. Why are they doing this? So all the other news articles I could find had the exact same information except this one, and it's a newer one from 2008. And I thought, oh, perfect. This has a list of all the cold cases going back to 1970 in St. Clair and Sanilac County. Perfect. Kevin Secret Tip from South Boston is his new name, and agreed. You should. And also, haha. There are at least 19 unsolved murders dating back to 1970 in St. Clair and Sanilac counties. Okay. While some live on oft-fingered binders, okay, and on dry erase boards with recent dates added, others are known only in a faded logbook entry or archived news stories. All cry out for justice. Now, see how he has pictures right here of the area? I would like to see those, please. So this is October, 1 year before Madeline in October. Donald R. Simons, 33 of Township, is found behind the wheel of his car, which crashed into his house. He'd been stabbed and would soon die. 2 men are seen running from the scene of the accident. Shortly before Christmas, the St. Clair County Prosecutor's Office issues a warrant for Estelle M. Smith. At the time, police would not reveal information connecting Smith to the murder, and she was never arrested. Well, who is Estelle? Then, October 1971, 1 year later, Madeline Summer, 17, her friend Lynn Pionk, sophomores at Port Huron Northern High School, are walking to the high school at 7 p.m. through a wooded area. So they've now shifted the news to 30 minutes later. Okay. Through a wooded area near the Black River Canal when they are attacked. Summer dies 6 days later of head injuries sustained in the attack. And that's it. That's all they put. That's the big update. This is interesting because Moncrief, I don't know where I've heard this. Is Sidney Moncrief an actor? Why is that name stuck in my head? Anyway, this person, James Smith, testified against this guy, Moncrief, who was charged in felonious assault. The judge, Walter Turton, which is a fun name, reduces Moncrief's $1,000 cash bond to $1,000 a PR bond. He's released that night. At 8:15 a.m. the next day, Smith is found in the bedroom of his home, shot in the fucking head. Gee, I wonder who did that. I'm starting to think maybe the police weren't so good back then in this area. Then Frank Van Esprick leaves his family farm in Wallaceburg, Ontario for the night in Port Huron. About 1 a.m. the next day, he is seen, which would be night, not day. He is seen talking to an 18-year-old woman at a Red Shingle Tavern, which is also what I call my body. At about 2 a.m. outside of her apartment building on the 3100 block of 24th Street, he is shot in the base of his neck. Huh. Now, this is the one I want you to also focus on, because give me a second here. What? Lorraine June Locke's mother, Mary, in 1975, so 4 years later, also in the cold time, February, leaves for, but it's always kind of cold up there. Let's get real. Leaves for a PTA meeting at Woodrow Wilson Elementary School at 8 p.m., leaving the 15-year-old behind. At 10 p.m., Lorraine is discovered lying on the bathroom floor, stabbed to death. So we have a 15-year-old girl stabbed to death 4 years later on the bathroom floor of her home at around 8 p.m. Janice Stevens, 38, literally 1 month late. 1 month and 2 days later, 3 days later, tells coworkers she plans to visit her sister in Detroit after leaving work at 4:30 that day. 2 days later, she's found on the floor of her house, lying in a pool of blood, dead from head injuries. So we have another woman dead in her house, head injuries. A month before, we have a girl, a 15-year-old, stabbed on her floor. And before that, we have these 2 young girls beaten to death. Then, 1976, another February, just a year later, Carol Wodarke's body is found in a snowbank around Cribbins Road. She's clothed only in a quarter-length maroon leather coat and black suede boots. The 25-year-old from Detroit had been bound, and her corpse had been mutilated by a snowplow. Where have we seen that before? Remember when they said John O'Keefe was hit by a snowplow? I wonder if they had crime scene photos to compare that to. That would be the case. One of the people who called police to report the body was Mark W.G. Ernst of Richmond, who later was convicted of killing someone else. Wodarke's clothes were found in an abandoned building across the street from where he lived. So, just to be clear, this is a 25-year-old. This guy, I think, was around the same age. 5 years earlier, that would have put him in his late teens, early 20s. He didn't live too far away. I wonder if they looked into him. Then 2 years later, Iris Christine Johnson, 20 of Springville, is last seen at the Colony Club Bar, 321 Huron Avenue, Port Huron, speaking with 2 men, ages 23 and 27, who, by the way, just a few years before would have been in their early teens. And there's 2 of them in a group. No one sees her leave. The men are never found. March 23rd, 1977, her body is discovered in a wooded area off Bryce Road between Rabideau and Cribbins. See Cribbins Road again? She had been strangled. It goes on and on. Now, Karen Marie Humphrey is the one that was just solved through genetic genealogy. Karen was found on Smith's Creek while driving back from a party between 12:30 and 2:30 a.m. Has an argument with her boyfriend, Fred Hill, near the 10th Street Bridge on Port Huron. Hill gets out of the car and begins walking home. Humphrey parks the car at 10th and Varney and follows on foot. At 3:30 a.m., a motorist calls Port Huron police, reports seeing a woman being forced into a pickup truck in the vicinity of Humphrey's parked car. Hunters walking the area of Abbotsford Road and the St. Game area of Clyde Township found Humphrey's body about 600 feet from the road. She had been shot in the head. And it goes on and on and on. Now, we're going to stop there because the 90s and on, there's a huge gap, as you can see. We kind of want to focus on these years, but it is odd how many young women to mid-20s and at one point 38-year-old Janice are found with so much trauma. It's not the hugest area back then. And it's a very limited scope of, I think, victim, vulnerable, female alone. And the relation geographically to both the schools, the elementary school, the middle school, the high school, Cribbins, it's all very odd. And I do think that there's hope for this case, but we need to find more. And again, this is the same one that we were looking at. Or this is Humphrey's case, right? So that's what Humphrey looked like. And it's also interesting how they do kind of look alike, because this is Madeline. And this is, let's take a look at, this is another guy, Douglas Lamming. Let me see if I can pull him up. Oh, wait, no, wrong picture. Never mind. Either way, Karen Humphrey's case has been, here it is. Let me pull this. Has been solved. And it makes me think that, and this is Karen Humphrey with the guy now. This is what he looks like now. With the help of genetic genealogy, GEDmatch, Authorham, hopefully they are also running Madeline's case. But it is odd because as I was looking through the girls and the women, they seem to kind of all be like the same dark hair, you know, parted on the side. They just look very similar. And I don't know if that's because of like, if that's just how everyone looked. I don't know. It kind of reminded me very Ted Bundy-esque, you know? And this is, I believe, the area where one of them was found, I think near the culvert. Let me see if I can. And that's from the newspaper. See all the water and stuff? So this is down by where the girls would have been. Yeah, I think so too. And it makes me wonder too, because, okay, with Karen, she was getting in a fight with her boyfriend, but she was shoved in a car by a lone guy. In that other case, it was 2 guys. In Madeline's case, it was 3 that were reported. And then in the others, they don't know, just because they just found the crime scene. There was no witnesses. So what I would like to do is I'm going to put this in Reddit. We're going to put it up to the Reddit gods in our subreddit. And yeah, that's what I mean. Exactly. Like, it's how everyone kind of wore their hair. So it's kind of hard to say, like, is that a trend? Like, it's how everyone did. It's like when everyone gets bangs, or the Gwen Stefani years when we all did the twists and the butterflies, you know? But I also do think he had a tie, because I don't know. It's just strange. So I'm going to put a link to all this stuff in Reddit. We're going to have a thread for it. If you want to help out, I want to find as much news footage as I can for this case. Police reports, police blotters, any old records. I'm going to be sifting through all the old government records, all the arrest records for anybody who has a similar crime in or around 100 miles of that area back then. It's just, there's something extra brutal, but also because of where it happened in the woods and the fact that they were boys. If they're reported as boys, that means that they're probably not traveling there from a far distance. They're not men with houses who can easily get away and go. I think they're people from that area. Definitely. And this isn't something that you would do to someone at a young age without a purpose. Like, were they initiating, or was it personal? I don't think so, because how would they know the girls missed the ride? Were they people on drugs? Well, they're boys. Like, something was going on that caused them to all be there, not say anything. Or did they? And it was just rumor and not successfully looked at, because again, they didn't have the forensics we have today. Who was polygraphed and why? It also kind of reminds me a lot of Henry, because who would have this kind of rage? And if they did it with a club, is it a golf club? Was it someone from the golf team? Like, what should we be looking for here? So I'm going to start that thread in Reddit. Anybody who wants to contribute to it, feel free. The subreddit is r/Oblivious Benson. Here, look. I'll just put a link below for you guys. But that's the case. I wish there was more, but that's kind of what I'd like to do with y'all, is start gathering more, because it's weird. It's fucked up. And I think that there is a lot to be gathered that maybe if it's put together could be helpful. And maybe posting in the Port Huron subreddit, like cross posting it, see if anybody, I don't know if they mean golf club, billy club. I don't know. So we'll find out. Back then, the crime scene was nothing and witnesses were everything. Today, it's the opposite. Probably exactly. Good point, turd. That's a turd. Rounded. Also, that's a shirt. All right. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Darlene, I'm praying for your lupus flare up. I want it to flare down. Hello, Lori Marie. Lori Marie. You just got here and we're leaving. Damn it. Start at the beginning, though, girl. Welcome. Just a crazy gent. You just got here when we're leaving. But it's okay. It's okay. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to end it with this, because I want to know that you are entering, even though we're leaving on a good note. I'm going to threaten you with my attorney.
Your Honor, defer. Miss Janice.
Judge Athens.
Your Honor, this is so unfair. Your Honor, I think I want to appeal. Your Honor. Your Honor, stop. This is Propaganda. Your Honor, this is fake. Don't believe what they say.
So, don't believe what they say. Also, what the fuck? Lawyer Marie and Sherlock Ho, you guys are late. And Tish, my gosh, propaganda, Your Honor. How dare you? I'm going to forgive it this time because I'm late all the time. But I do want to remind you.
I came back because, you know, boys' night, boy. Anyway, are you like waiting for your people or like what's up?
Like, we've been here the whole time, but what's up? You know, it's fine. Also, everything's great. Everything's gonna be okay. And why? Because
The Dow right now is over. The Dow is over $50,000.
and I'm gonna be honest with you, any donations made to the channel starting on this day, be it Venmo, PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or Cash App, it's all going to go to the Italian mafia because I am heavily indebted to this woman right here.
My father gets a job at the Palm Restaurant. My Uncle Junior works there, who was a Jehovah's Witness, believe it or not. He went from Catholic to Jehovah. So basically, my grandmother wanted us all to switch from Catholic to Jehovah. You know, meanwhile, we're from Harlem. My father's doing coke. You know, my mother thinks she's Aunt Margaret. She's teasing the hair with a bottle of vodka. You know, so dysfunctional, cross-addicted family, still cooking pasta on Sundays. And the meatballs, they wind up being burnt.
And also, like, here's the other thing is I don't know how to handle her because she's Italian. She's from Brooklyn and I'm huge. So what do I do? You know, am I just like, do I just fall in a hole like Sherman?
I just go get another one.
Big silly
like,
thing.
I won't do that again.
Don't get bulldog.
I mean, we're all technically Sherman falling in a hole. But then there's some of you out there that, I mean, you might be saying, what is this bitch talking about? I don't speak English. And
Damn, man, these motherfuckers gave me this goddamn dog for free. Come to find out I speak Spanish. Come here, Snack. Vente. Sentate. Dame la mano, move.
And some of you guys, you know, you might not want to donate to the channel because you're like, Your Honor, this is propaganda. And to you, I say,
there will come a payday, hallelujah, what a payday. There will come a payday someday, someday. There will come a payday, hallelujah, what a payday. There will come a